Do you want to have a quickie? Welcome to the weekly edition of Quickie with Sean, a Celtic Down Under production. If you're listening to this on audio only, then I recommend you jump over to YouTube, as it's only a short 10-minute video, and I've included some quick clips of the talking points that are covered herein. Other than that, this is just a new product we've only been doing for a few weeks, so any feedback or suggestions are always welcome. Thank you. On Saturday, Celtic made the long journey across the city to the Scottish National Stadium to compete for a place in the final of the Coca-Cola Cup, CIS, Betfred, at the final of the Cup, which has had more sponsors than Paul Gascoigne. They faced Derek McInnes's Ayrshire Rangers for the second time in a week, but this time on a bigger pitch and in conditions which were much rougher than the previous week. The Hampden pitch continued its annual tradition of cutting up like Pete Doherty on a Saturday night, while failing to do the only thing it is supposed to do, facilitate a game of football. Since ownership changed hands to the SFA, they can no longer scapegoat Queen's Park for the awful turf, and are proving they manage ground maintenance as effectively as they manage referee training. Incidentally, the Spiders should soon be playing on their brand new Dazo surface the next few weeks, just a few hundred metres away at Lesser Hampden. Hopefully the final is moved to there so that the game can be played on a decent surface and both clubs can have their usual 700 travelling fans for a Glasgow derby in attendance. Celtic had one change to the starting 11, with World Cup hero Josip Juranovic restored to right back. The most notable change to the Kilmarnock starting 11 was the inclusion of Kyle Lafferty as the central target of a front three. The isolated front two had proven completely ineffectual at Celtic Park the previous week, but the change to a front three with a pacey Armstrong and Vassell playing off the star-jumping Bigot proved much more effective, with Kilmarnock dominating chances in the early phases and finishing the game statistically level with Celtic in all areas, other than possession, and the only one that counts, goals scored. Daisen Maeda put the Hoops ahead in the 18th minute after a marauding Juranovic won a free kick, which Moy whipped into the back post danger area. It looked like the final touch had been off Kyle Lafferty, and every fair-minded person in Scotland that was watching was absolutely begging for the replay to show an own goal from the lanky cheat, but unfortunately his feeble attempted clearance had only come off the ubiquitous Maeda at the back post. The Japanese Dynamo didn't know much about it, but he scored his 7th goal of the campaign to match his total from last season already, despite it only being mid-January, and being at the World Cup for 4 weeks. He appeared to have surpassed the tally when he produced a brilliant top corner finish early in the second half, but Kyogo had a shoelace offside before playing the through ball, so the goal was disallowed by VAR. Celtic had already doubled their lead 10 minutes earlier when Rio Hatate had the ball in the net, after Kilmarnock centre-back Ash Taylor punched the ball into his path, but Hatate was in an offside position when the handball offence, which wasn't a handball, occurred, so the goal was also disallowed by VAR. It wasn't until the 83rd minute that Sam Walker and Goals for Kelly decided to take over from VAR and get in on the goal-denying action by saving a goal-bound Moy effort. Celtic were relentless from that point, and the three subs of Forrest, Turnbull and Giakoumakis combined in the 95th minute to seal a cup final berth for the Hoops. Derek McInnes is magnanimous in his post-match interview in pointing out that his team need help from the officials to get a result against Celtic, while Ange Postecoglou lauded the luck of his players in a jibe at Sevco manager Michael Beale. Speaking of which, Penalty 2 FC were facing Aberdeen in the other Hampden semi-final on the eve of their 1-year penalversary, the occasion they last conceded a penalty in a domestic game. The incredible record-breaking run continued as Sevco youth coach Nick Walsh helped his team into the final with a fine performance, reducing Aberdeen to 10 men, ignoring a punch to the face of an on-loan Celtic player, and then shutting off VAR once Sevco finally took the lead in extra time. It was an outstanding result for the Premier Sports, Viaplay broadcasters, who wanked themselves blind at full time at the thought of the publicity, subscription fees and advertising revenue they will now be receiving for showing a Glasgow Derby Cup final on the 26th of February. The SPFL's media broadcasting representative, Elizabeth Taylor, would like to show her gratitude to their long-term broadcasting partners and the loyalty they have shown since December 2022 and expects a long and happy relationship. The league action had kicked off early with Edinburgh Rangers hosting St Mirren on Friday night. The home team dominated possession but not chances and scraped a 1-0 win in a night which also saw further handball controversy. Australian centre-back Kai Rolls allowed a looping cross to bounce off his hand despite having an eternity to use any other body part or get out the way, but the on-field referee and VAR saw nothing, indicating that the new handball rule is that if it's in the box, you don't give a foul. Livingston took advantage of Aberdeen's break from league duty to move up to 4th place in the league, with a win on the road to St Johnstone. They are now 2 points ahead of the Pittodrie side and 4 behind Hearts, with all teams having played 21 games. The Lions were 3-0 up at half-time when St Johnstone rung the changes and pulled back 2 goals, but the visitors scored again late on to finish with an uncomfortable 4-2 win. If David Martindale is able to continue delivering 3 points like he delivers other substances, then Livingston can look forward to damaging Scotland's European coefficient in June when they lose to the 3rd best team in Wales or Ireland. Edinburgh Hibernian faced Dundee Hibernian at Easter Road in a game which finished 2-2. The travelling Tangerines had twice taken the lead and been pegged back by informed Scotland striker Kevin Nisbet, including an injury time leveller in the 92nd minute. After scoring all 5 of Hibs' goals in their last 2 games, a spate of transfer rumours auto-generated by Twitter bots popped up linking him to the Celtic bench, probably because he attended a Roman Catholic high school in Rutherglen. There was a relegation 6-pointer in Motherwell, where the local side were visited by Ross County. The hosts took the lead in the 68th minute, but the bottom place Staggies equalised with 10 minutes remaining in a forgettable January draw. Motherwell remained 3 points above bottom place County, level on 20 points alongside Dundee United and Kilmarnock, but sitting 9th by virtue of goal difference, despite an incredible run of only 2 wins in their last 17 games. It is assumed that manager Jamie Hamill is receiving more leeway than a standard top-flight professional manager due to being a playing legend of the community club who represented Scotland in Europe this season. In the Championship, Hamilton Accies ended a 10-game winless run with their first league win since mid-October, but remain 4 points adrift at the bottom of the league and in real danger of dropping down to League One. The club enjoyed recent seasons in the top flight, but have taken their plastic pitch on a precipitous decline since their 2017 investment scheme with a Nigerian prince failed to pan out. Royal Prince JJ Mikokocha remains unavailable for comment. There was also a small Manchester derby taking place in England this weekend, which showcased a number of significant aspects around the EPL money orgy. The Manchester Oil Slickers took the lead in the 60th minute through a substitute whose transfer fee exceeded the annual GDP of the nation of Tuvalu. However, the Manchester Glazers scored twice in the 78th and 82nd minute to turn the tie on its head and make a statement win for debt leveraging and other financial chicanery. After such a dramatic late turnaround in a local derby, one overjoyed football tourist was pictured on screen managing a grimaced smile and slow fist pump at shoulder height. There was also evidence that referee controversy and allegations of incompetence and bias extend beyond Hadrian's Wall, with most Oil fans claiming offside for interference, despite not touching the ball, blah blah blah, etc. referees. Celtic ladies enjoyed a thumping 8-0 win over Glasgow women, which leapfrogged them over Sevco and into second place, after the Blue ladies were held to a 0-0 draw by Hearts. The Hoops showed no hangover from the loss of Canadian top goalscorer Clarissa Larissi to Swedish side Häcken on a Scottish record transfer fee, as Amy Gallagher stepped up to fill the void and scored 4 goals. The ladies trail first place Glasgow City by 6 points, but will be hoping to win their game in hand against Motherwell this midweek. Thank you for watching and listening, and please leave any feedback in the comments.
Do you want to have a quickie?